The funniest thing about Meghan Markle's deranged display in Montecito over the weekend with Ted Sarandos, the Netflix boss, is that she hasn't realized yet. You're the one being played, Meghan.
Your business partnership is collapsing. Your cooking show was canceled. Your brand lost its backer. And your place to show up at the man's house, grab his wife's hand and pose for Getty images like everything is fine? That takes a very specific kind of audacity, and nobody does audacity like Meghan.
They made sure that Carey Mulligan did not come in until Meghan Markle had left. And she didn't want to leave. She was making everybody's life a misery because she wanted to be present because she's the Duchess. But no, honey, you have lost big time. That's how much Meghan Markle's stock has fallen. She was kicked out and Harry was embarrassed and apologizing to Ted Sarandos once again for his wife's lack of sensitivity or listening to people or following a simple dress code.
She is very, very worried, nervous. She's on the back foot. She knows Netflix is gone. She knows Netflix is moving on, and she's sort of freaking out about it. They know the gravy train is ending, and they're just doing anything as humanly possible to gain attention.
44 official photos, one event, and Meghan Markle appears in individual pairings with exactly two people. Not Don Johnson, not Michael Keaton, not Carey Mulligan, the actual star of the night, just the Netflix CEO and his wife.
Well, Brittany, none of this was a good look. None of this was a good look. She looks truly deranged. We know what she's trying to do here. The problem is, Brittany, it changes nothing. The fact that Ted Sarandos wants her to try and promote beef.
That's the real story from the Beef Season 2 screening at Ted Sarandos' Montecito home on Friday, April 10th. Not the chartreuse dress every tabloid ran with, not the rare joint appearance, the photo record. 44 frames credited to Stephanie Keenan of Getty Images for Netflix, and the A-list guest list reads like a who's who of people who apparently had nothing to say to the Duchess of Sussex.
I mean, she doesn't care about her reputation, does she? Or does she think that the Duchess of Sussex title can take on anything and nothing's going to happen to it? That title, it's already devalued, depreciated, and valued completely. How embarrassing. And no, Meghan Markle doesn't have a model body.
Here's the thing about official photo drops from a Netflix PR event. They aren't accidents. Keenan is one of the most experienced entertainment photographers in Los Angeles. She shoots premieres, she shoots Oscar parties. She doesn't miss the headline guest standing next to Michael Keaton. If a pairing exists in the room, it ends up on Getty's server. And if it doesn't end up on Getty's server, that's usually because the pairing didn't happen, or because someone made a call about what leaves the room.
It is gross, and trust me, I know how fake Hollywood is. I know how fake the entertainment industry is. But Meghan Markle and the Sussex Squad think this is a win for her. Think that this in some way disproves everything that has gone on with Netflix. It doesn't. All she looks is nuts. Totally crazy. Clinging on to Ted Sarandos' wife for dear life.
And before anyone says this is just reaching, hold that thought. Because the upstaging angle assumes Meghan was even in the frame with the other guests long enough to upstage anyone. The photo record says she wasn't. It says she was photographed with the host, with the host's wife, and then in the group configuration at the edge, and that's it. Forget the dress. Look at who she has no pictures with, because in Hollywood, the official photo drop is the invitation list the morning after.
Here's the detail that makes this story even more delicious. 2 weeks before this party, Carey Mulligan walked into Windsor Castle and received a CBE from King Charles, Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Her husband Marcus Mumford was by her side. It was one of the proudest moments of her career. And then, 14 days later, the woman who left that very institution showed up at Carey's Netflix celebration wearing the same color, pulling focus in exactly the way she always does.
He has a normal smile. Hers looks very, very forced to me.
Don Johnson was there. So was Michael Keaton with his partner Marnie Turner, John Corbett, Nick Kroll, Oscar Isaac, Kaylee Spaney, Charles Melton, Orlando Bloom, Justin Trudeau, awkwardly described by Fox News as Katy Perry's boyfriend, Lee Sung-jin, the creator of the show they were all there to celebrate, and Carey Mulligan, Beef Season 2's actual headliner. Not a single one of them appears in an individual photo with Meghan Markle in the reporting.
Getty Images removed all the pictures from Harry and Meghan Markle at that event. But I think you noticed something here, right? You can see that Carey Mulligan is wearing green. She's the only one wearing green because that was the whole point of it, that she was the star of the show and people had been told to wear black and white so she would stand out because all of these are promotional pictures. The whole show is about her. Meghan Markle had to show up wearing exactly the same color dress as the star of the show.
Now, I want to be careful here, because this is the part where tabloids usually oversell. The official Getty Draw put out 44 photos. Meghan appears in the group shot with Harry and the Sarandoses. She appears hugging Nicole Avant. She appears posing alone with Ted. Hollywood Reporter, Fox News, Page 6, She Knows, The Daily Mail. None of them highlighted a single Meghan plus A-lister frame beyond the CEO and his wife. Not one.
You think this is a big victory, and that somehow all of the stories, which are factual, which is that Netflix has dumped your because Was Never is the worst lifestyle brand in the history of lifestyle brands. Because what was that show called? I can't even remember. With Love Meghan. With Love Meghan was the worst piece of lifestyle TV programming in the history of lifestyle TV programming. And the fact that they even unfollowed you, Ted included, on social media.
I checked the body language breakdowns. I checked the fashion rundowns. I checked the pro-Sussex coverage, the Meghan pairings in the public record and at the Sarandos household. Look, I could be wrong on one or two of the smaller attendees. Maybe somewhere in those 44 frames there's a half-second background shot. But the named, highlighted, press-distributed pairings? 2, both of them Netflix. Think about what that means in context. Don Johnson is 76 years old. He's a Miami Vice legend. Michael Keaton is Batman. He's Beetlejuice. He's an Oscar nominee twice over. Carey Mulligan is the actual star of the show the night was thrown for. These are not people who don't know who Meghan Markle is. These are people who were physically in the same garden, drinking the same wine, listening to the same moderated conversation, and the record says none of them stood next to her long enough for a photographer to press the shutter. Not Meghan upstaging, Meghan orbiting. Two different stories.
It's obviously such a PR move from Netflix in a way, because they know Harry and Meghan, the one thing they can get from the couple for sure is publicity, nothing else. Meghan tends to get a bit more manic when things aren't going particularly well. You can almost feel the force and emphasis by her to try and make this Hollywood thing work. And despite maybe getting an invitation, or more likely inviting themselves to this event, Harry and Meghan are not doing well in Hollywood. The future is looking quite bleak for them in the entertainment industry.
Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because the one photo Meghan was featured in, the one that dominated every outlet, was the Nicole Avant hug. And that photo didn't land the way her team wanted it to. Judy James writes body language for the Daily Mail. She's been doing it for 20 years. She's one of the most quoted credentialed body language commentators in the UK, which means when she writes something, the 55-plus female audience across London, Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane reads it and files it.
The body language here is interesting because Ted and Nicole are leaning into each other, but Meghan is leaning towards Nicole as if she's separating herself from Harry. And of course, she's here clutching Nicole's hand. And it's very strange.
James described Meghan's behavior at Sarandos' home as, and this is a direct quote, exaggerated displayed attachment rituals. But the Judy James line that actually cut was about the couple's lineup. She wrote that the way Ted and Nicole held their couple's pose in the foursome shot made it look almost as though Meghan is photobombing their pose. Photobombing, that's the word a Daily Mail body language analyst used about a duchess attending an event she was invited to. Not integrated, not central. Photobombing her own hosts. And remember, the whole reason Meghan was at that event in the first place was damage control. Because
the relationship is screwed. And the fact that Meghan is so crazed to think that we are just going to take some really weird pictures as evidence rather than actually very in-depth reporting, which has been going on for months and months and months, and now has been confirmed by Variety, the Hollywood Bible, just shows that she really does take people for fools. And that is her problem.
24 days earlier, on March March 17th, Variety published the most devastating piece of reporting the Sussex brand has taken since the Spotify collapse. Matt Donnelly's investigation, 6 sources inside Netflix. One of them, and this is an attributed claim from a named outlet, not my opinion, said the mood in the Netflix building was, quote, "We're done." 3 insiders told Variety that Ted Sarandos himself is fed up with the pair.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe Ted is now friends with Meghan. Let's look at that. After such a display of friendship, Meghan Markle laughing, maybe he followed her on Instagram? Of course not. Of course not.
And in the same piece, UTA CEO Jeremy Zimmer, on the record, said, quote, "Turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent, or necessarily any kind of talent." That quote is from Cannes, 2023, 3 years old. Variety brought it back in March 2026 because the shoes still fit. Here's why the hug matters. Meghan didn't go to Sarandos' home on April 10th because she wanted to celebrate Beef Season 2. She went because 6 Variety sources had just told a journalist her biggest remaining Hollywood relationship was radioactive, and she needed one photo to prove otherwise.
This is not the first time, not even close. Remember Prince Louis christening in July 2018? The entire royal family wore cream, white, and soft blue, and Meghan showed up in an olive green outfit, the only splash of color in this entire lineup. Different event, different year, same pattern. Meghan has never met a room she didn't try to make about herself.
One photo, that was the brief. And her own body language analyst, writing in the same paper Margaret reads with her morning tea, called the result exaggerated attachment and photobombing. That's not damage control. That's damage confirmation.
Meghan Markle's superpower of taking on a beautiful dress and uglying it up. Not only has Meghan Markle uglied her dress and has given her a bad rep, but Meghan Markle hasn't paid for it. I mean, at a certain point, this woman should be accused of theft.
And now, the dress. Because every competitor channel in this cluster is running the same chartreuse Heidi Merrick angle. And that's why they're all missing it. Carey Mulligan wore chartreuse too. Same color family. Same event. That's the fashion story the tabloids ran with. Meghan upstages Beef Season 2 star in matching dress. But flip the question around and the whole framing collapses. Carey Mulligan is a 3-time Oscar nominee. She's the featured talent of the night. She was photographed standing next to the show's creator. She was photographed talking to Oscar Isaac. She was photographed in the group with Kaylee Spaney. Meghan, chartreuse dress, hug with the CEO's wife, and a caption in Judy James's column calling her a photo bomber.
This one is the only picture which survived with the Getty Images. And here you can see Meghan Markle earlier in the evening standing there. You can see everybody else is wearing black and white. The star of the show is not there yet. She arrived a little bit later. Carey Mulligan, the star of the show, arrived a little bit later after you see that picture, and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were asked to kindly leave.
Here's what's actually wild about this. Heidi Merrick, the designer Meghan wore, is a Montecito-based designer. Meghan has worn her before. This wasn't a random pull. This was a deliberate outfit choice for a deliberate PR moment at a deliberately chosen venue.
Meghan's smart. She knows what she's doing in some ways, and she's also super desperate. And so she's like, I'll wear the same color.
Every variable was controlled by her team. They knew Carey Mulligan would be there. They had the guest list. They knew the photographer. And the outcome they engineered was a chartreuse dress that produced 2 press-distributed pairings with the host household and nothing else.
Meghan choosing colors that deliberately clash and trying to steal attention is very, very Meghan, very desperate, very D-list actress, which is what she's always been.
The upstaging angle only works if you start from the premise that Meghan was competing with the A-listers for attention. The photo record suggests something much worse for her team. She wasn't competing. She was trying to survive an event where the A-listers had already moved past her. Don Johnson doesn't need to upstage anyone. Michael Keaton doesn't need to upstage anyone. Carey Mulligan was the whole point of the night. Meghan wasn't being upstaged. She was being politely left alone.
She had to ruin or try to ruin Carey Mulligan's moment, and it showed that Harry and Meghan Markle have lost their pull to be asked to leave a party. That's how bad things were for this woman, and she left angrily. She wasn't smiling when she left.
They rejected cookie queens, forcing Harry and Meghan to go with the begging bowl out to the Sundance Film Festival. Honestly, cookie queens would have been like pocket money for Ted Sarandos. He could have bought that movie in a flash. And then the big one, of course, which is the confirmation that Netflix no longer has anything to do with As Ever. That is it. That is all we need to know.
The photo record only makes sense once you look at the data Ted Sarandos looks at on Monday morning. With Love, Meghan, Season 1. Netflix ranking in the first half of 2025, 383rd. With Love, Meghan, Season 2. Netflix ranking in the second half of 2025, 1,217. 1,217. That's not a show that's winding down. That's a show that's actively invisible on the platform that produced it.
But Netflix is done with Harry and Meghan pretty much. Like, they're gonna have some peripheral interactions on some projects, but I don't think they have any real creative control over anything. I don't think Netflix is really gonna buy anything from them at this point unless it's something actually quite good. And Harry and Meghan, they just have no creative talent here. They shouldn't have gone off to Hollywood. Meghan didn't make it before in Hollywood, and a royal title has not changed that.
Polo, the 2024 documentary about Harry's favorite sport. Hollywood Reporter, quote, did not blow the ratings out of the water. 1.1 million views. For comparison, Netflix's own breakout docuseries regularly posts 30 to 50 million. Live to Lead, 700,000 views in 6 months. Heart of Invictus, roughly 300,000.
Netflix has got to realize that Harry and Meghan, the noise they generate is basically always negative.
Page 6 reported in January 2026 that with Love, Meghan isn't returning as a series. A Sussex spokesperson reframed that to Variety as continuing as seasonal specials. Same meaning, softer wording. That's damage control mode, and the room can tell. And then there's the As Ever situation. Netflix formally exited its equity stake in Meghan's lifestyle brand on March 6th, 2026.
They've known now for sure that Meghan Markle cannot convert the way she claimed to in terms of products. As Ever products did not move, that's why they pulled out. And so they do know that the only thing Harry and Meghan can do is generate a lot of noise. And so they're leveraging that to help this series.
Variety reported Netflix was sitting on more than $10 million of unsold As Ever inventory, some of it reportedly given to Netflix employees free on card tables. Think about that sentence for a minute. A royal branded lifestyle product line sitting on Netflix shelves, getting given away in the office lobby. The company took the equity L, issued a polite statement, and walked. This is the context every competitor is skipping. The beef photo op didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened 24 days after Variety's 6-source piece, 4 days after Netflix formally exited As Ever, and on the exact same day Senebe's defamation lawsuit against Harry became public in the High Court of England and Wales. 2 PR fires burning on one calendar date, and the best image the Sussex camp could get out of it was a hug that their own friendliest body language analyst called exaggerated. When that's the win photo, the lost photos must be devastating, which might be why so few of them made the cut.
At what point in time is Charles going to stop interfering and defending and promoting and protecting these two idiots? Because people don't understand that there is a connection there, and Charles is always behind it. He's not given up on his darling boy coming back to the United Kingdom, and if he can't bring him back yet, he's gonna make sure that he is seen in Hollywood, or that he doesn't lose face, and that, or that he saves face with Meghan Markle, especially after that Variety show came up.
Here's the honest bottom line. Nobody handed me court documents saying Meghan Markle was ignored at a Montecito garden party. I don't have a signed affidavit from Michael Keaton. None of us were in that garden. We're all working from the same public material. The 44-photo Getty drop, the Variety insider reporting, the Judy James column, the deadline ranking data, and the guest list every outlet published. But when you lay it all on one table, the pattern is uncomfortable. 1. 44 official photos exist from that night. Meghan appears in individual pairings with 2 people, both Netflix. 2. The guest list included at least 6 A-listers with global name recognition. 0 of them appear in individual pairings with her in the press-distributed record. 3. The one pairing her team clearly wanted, the Nicole Evant hug, got called photobombing, an exaggerated attachment by the Daily Mail's staff body language expert within hours. 4. Bela Baharia, Netflix's CCO, went on the record and said, quote, "Don't believe whatever you read. There's no juicy story here. Fine, but when 6 people inside a building tell a Variety reporter, "We're done," a press release denial doesn't overrule them. It just sits next to them. 5. The day this all happened, Meghan's chartreuse dress was the headline. The 44 photos were the story. The tabloids ran the distraction. Star Spotlight runs the receipt. She didn't upstage anyone at Sarandos' home. She didn't need to. The room upstaged her by not standing next to her. And the photographer, one of the best in the business, filed 44 photos that tell you exactly which relationships in that garden were real and which ones were the ones somebody needed for the morning papers, when the only people willing to be photographed with you are the 2 people who host the party. You haven't attended an event, you've attended an audition, and the callback hasn't come. Here's what happens next. In roughly 72 hours, Harry and Meghan land in Melbourne for their first Australian tour since 2018. No children. Commercial ticket prices up to $3,199 Australian dollars. A Change.org petition against taxpayer-funded police security at over 43,000 signatures. And somewhere inside that trip is a moment I think is going to define the next 6 months of this story. A moment involving the one royal institution the Sussexes can't sue, can't spin, and can't photograph their way out of. That video drops next, because this story isn't over, not even close. This is Star Spotlight, where the frame doesn't lie.